Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kanjaviya De Jaya Radha Madhava Kanjaviya De Gopi Yashoda Nanda Chaitanya Yashoda Nanda Chaitanya Yamuna Deva Yamuna Deva Jaya Radha Yashoda Chaitanya Yashoda Chaitanya Yamuna Deva Chaitanya Yamuna Jaya Radha Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Nitagariva, Ariva, Ariva, Nitagariva. The tiger of Himanandi, Prabhupada King, Samavida Bhaktivinoda King, go of Himanandi. Somebody can take the harmonium away from me, please? Yes. Om Agyantimandasya Gyanandalashalakaya Chakshunmalitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manupistam Stapitam Yenu Bhuttale Swayam Upakaramayam Dadati Swavadantikam Namam Vishnupada Kashavasa Bhuttale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Govani Pachayane Nivishesha Shunyavari Pasadari Shatarine Vanchakapati Vashakaipa Sanvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Bhavanityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shivasadi Go Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So welcome everybody to our last morning session on the topic related Bhagavatam classes. So today we want to talk about the topic of chanting, deepening our relationship with the holy name. I actually do conduct holy name retreats all around the world. A very nice one we have is always in Eka Chakra. I don't know if I mentioned it already. I don't think so. It's in the Prabhupada Marathon, 21st to 25th of December. We stay for 4 nights in Eka Chakra Dham, Nityananda's birthplace. Who's been to Eka Chakra? Oh, not so many. Yeah, so you should come. It's really nice. Yes. You get a whole folder of printed materials. I take you through a whole journey with exercises in japa, in kirtan, applying in the evening kirtans what we discussed during the day. And especially if you switch off your mobile phone for the whole time, you actually enter a different reality. It's quite powerful. Yes. People have described it as a life-changing experience. And I'm not saying that because I'm conducting the Holy Name Retreat. No, Sri Harinam Prabhu is the chief guest. I'm just the tour guide. Yes. So it's a really nice and sweet and transformational experience. All you have to do is be in Mayapur at the right time and register on my website. Or sometimes people, they come by train to Rampur Hat. That's the closest station to Eka Chakra, and they don't even have to go to Mayapur. You know. So in any case, usually the Holy Name retreats are 3 full days. So all we can present here is some little glimpse, some little insights. You know. Yes. Yes. So I guess let us begin by remembering that Krishna and his holy name are non-different. We have all heard this many times, and yet not so easy to actually realize. Right? So in other words, by chanting in japa as well as in kirtan, we can get the same benefit as meeting Krishna face to face. Wow, that's quite amazing. So Krishna, by his causeless mercy, he extends himself into the material world by giving us his holy name. And by chanting, that's how we re-establish this lost and forgotten relationship. So now one thing is that any activity which we do very regularly, every day, we easily become over-familiar, meaning we lose respect and we become mechanical in these activities, right? Even when we do puja every day on the altar, very easily that over-familiarity sneaks in. We just become mechanical like some arty robot, you know, and the mind is completely somewhere else. Or even Prabhupada Guru Puja, offering the flowers to Prabhupada, can be a very external, mechanical thing because we're doing it every morning. You know? Yes. Yes. So, and the same thing happens also with chanting, especially japa, because hopefully we also do this every day. And yeah, and every activity we do every day, this can sneak in, that it becomes just some routine thing. Our joy is from finishing our rounds. Oh, I finished, you know, rather than the joy coming from chanting the holy name. Oh, thank God I finished. So just getting these rounds done, you know. Yeah, so, and this kind of chanting does not give much benefit at all, actually. In one sense, we can hardly even call it chanting the holy name. We will discover that a little later. So yes, this inattentiveness is the root cause of all our problems in the chanting. As we know, we have 10 offenses, we recite them after Mangaladi. And do you also say there's an 11th offense? That's inattentive while chanting? Yes, I can't remember. See, that's how attentive I am. Yes, so this inattentiveness, that's the root cause of all the other offenses. And this is not only there in japa and kirtan, same principles are there, you know. Yes. And yeah, I mean, how long can we chant 16 rounds if it just stays on that level of mechanically finishing of our duty? How long can we do it? You know, maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 years. But it's a very common thing, unfortunately, that devotees stop chanting 16 rounds. You know, even Brahman initiated everything. So that happens when we don't ongoingly make an effort to get on deeper understandings of chanting. Yes. The chanting is a whole science and secret. You know, it's not some external thing. It's a whole deep meditation. Yes. I mean, like in the Western world, it is becoming very popular that people meditate. And usually it is some Mayavadi meditation practice. But they do take their meditation so much more seriously than we do. Yes, it's shameful that we have to admit this. When they meditate, they lock the door, they put a sign on, don't disturb, I'm meditating, lighting the candle, Mayavadi music, and you know, but when we meditate, we just walk around with our beads, you know, and we call this meditation, you know. And we have the topmost form of meditation, which can bring us to Goloka Vrindavan. No other meditation can take us there. But we take it so lightly and cheaply, you know. Yes. Yes, so in any case, let me the alarm clock. Yes, so actually, in regards to kirtan, Prabhupada made some powerful statement. He was saying, this chanting should go on instead of meetings, resolutions, dissolutions, revolutions, and then no solutions. There should be chanting. Yes, very funny statement. Of course, saying that doesn't mean we should not meet. I often fear in ISKCON we don't meet enough, because any professional companies, they meet almost every day just to focus everybody and have a clear communication channel going and you know, so no, that doesn't mean that. But Prabhupada simply wants to make this point. Then especially in kirtan, if we actually have regularly kirtan where everybody takes part, not only the young bhaktas, but everybody, also the leaders, everybody. Prabhupada was saying, then management is at our fingertips. Because kirtan has this, you know, uniting effect. Everybody powerfully focusing on the Lord. In kirtan, we are all equal. We are all pure spirit souls, chanting the holy name, glorifying, you know. So kirtan helps us to overcome all kinds of conditioning, bodily concept, this, that, you know, and then management is so much easier, you know. So Prabhupada was often saying, if there's some management problems, it means there's not enough kirtan. Yeah. So, and even though it's a very simple formula, yet it is not so easy to apply, because we have this disease that we think so many other things are more important than the holy name, right? That's our disease, yes. Also, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, make your chanting heart deep, not just lip deep. Yes, this is also very profound. Make your chanting heart deep, not just something we are blabbering there, lip deep. Yes. So that's usually the motto of our holy name retreats, that we want to bring the holy name on the level of the heart. Because bhakti is meant to transform the heart. So for bhakti to transform the heart has to be involved. Otherwise it's not doing anything for the heart. Yes. Good to know, If we do any service in a mechanical way, just somehow getting the job done, then this will not transform the heart. Yeah, heart has to be involved. So yes, let us briefly have a look at these different levels of inattentiveness, because that is the root cause in our chanting. And we were saying, Krishna and the holy name are not different. So obviously it depends how we receive Krishna in form of the holy name, right? So let us imagine we are inviting our Guru Maharaj to come either to our home or to our temple. And then when he arrives, we, don't give him any attention. We turn our back towards him. We have more important things to do. We are distracted. So what kind of reception is that? We can hardly even call it association with Guru. And obviously we're not going to get much benefit. And maybe we will even get some reactions for not receiving him appropriately. So same thing is there in regards to the holy name. Yes. So there is 3 levels of inattentiveness. Inattentiveness on the level of the body, inattentiveness on the level of the mind, and what's the last level? Inattentiveness on the level of the heart. Yes, we already warmed up the topic. Often people don't guess it so easily if I don't say these things about the heart first. People come up with level of the soul, level of the intelligence. No, heart. Yes. So inattentiveness on the level of the body basically means doing something else while we chant, right? The list is long, chanting while talking to somebody, 2 people meet. They both have their hand in the bead bag, and while one person says something, the other person answers. And if the answer is long, then you can squeeze quite a few mantras in, right? But if the answer is short, what a shame, only one mantra you got rid of. And like that it goes back and forwards, And then one very common level example of inattentiveness is being on the phone. We can even say, this must be, Mahaprabhu's arrangement, that we have this finger here, and we can still scroll up and down, and write a few little messages, and please, whoever is tired, stand up. Don't sit there and fall asleep. stand up. Yes. And if we are tired in the Bhagavatam class, it means we are taking rest too late, or we are eating too much in the evenings. So whenever I fall asleep while chanting or while sitting in the class, I know, okay, I need an early night. Otherwise, what's the use if we fall asleep while we chant? That's really miserable life. My God, falling asleep while we're chanting. My God, what a way to receive Krishna. Huh? Yes. So then we have to make some serious adjustment in our schedule, taking rest earlier, eating less in the evening. Right? Yes. Otherwise, our whole sadhana will be ineffective if we are sleepy, Yes. Anyway, so yes, the phone, one of the main distractions in our chanting. I saw it even this morning. There were some people being on the phone with their hand in the bead bag, exactly like that, Yes. This is nonsense, yeah. So, and then also chanting while going shopping, looking on the market, this, that, or chanting while reading, chanting while sitting in the class. Sometimes we see people sitting in the back and they chant, The mood is, oh, I want to be in the class, but I also want to get rid of some rounds, So the mood is maximizing our time. So the mood is we're trying to maximize our time, by doing something and using that time to get rid of some rounds, Even public transport, it's questionable how attentive we are when we sit there in the train or plane or whatever, Yes. So, and the other mood of inattentive chanting on the level body is to try and pass this boring japa time in a more pleasing and entertaining way, right? By looking at all kinds of pictures and this and that, or go for some beautiful walk and look at the birds and the bees and simply, yes, passing the boring japa time in a more pleasing way, right? So that's basically, in a nutshell, the inattentiveness on the level of the body. And as long as we are not attentive on the level of the body, there is no question of being attentive on the mind or the heart. So it always starts with the body. So then inattentiveness on the level of the mind basically means to use the japa time for a plan-making session, right? The mind likes to make plans. So we plan all kinds of things, the shopping list, the next preaching program, the yatra to Mayapur or wherever it may be, and so many plans, right? Yes. We may sit there all very nicely, but the mind can take us all around in circles, all around the universe. Or sometimes different, issues are going around in circles in the mind, or some monologues, dialogues, again and again in circles. Whenever we experience this, I think I may have mentioned it already, it always is a sure sign that the false ego is torturing us. This is interesting, that the false ego uses the mind and intelligence as tools to get what the false ego wants to enjoy, that gratification. So whenever we find ourselves in the situation that things go in circles, guaranteed it's the false ego, So we often only think, yes, the mind is distracting us and chanting. But then once we know a little bit more about the false ego, we actually realize, no, behind the mind, the false ego is hiding. And that's the real problem, the false ego torturing us there, and simply using the mind as a tool to harass us. Yes. Yes, so that's basically inattentiveness on the level of the mind, planning, or having all kinds of issues going on in our head there, So, and then inattentiveness on the level of the heart. Prabhupada gave us one analogy, how we should chant. I'm sure we have heard it all many times. What is it? We should chant. Yes, like a child crying out in helplessness, in desperation for his mother. That's how we are meant to chant. But are we chanting like that? No, we are not. We are not. And why aren't we chanting like this? Any suggestion? Why are we not chanting, crying out? We don't feel? Yeah, we don't feel we need Krishna actually. Actually, it's again our constant companion and troublemaker, the false ego. We think, oh, we've got our life under control, everything is going okay, yes. I've got my job, my family, my department, this, that, and so we don't feel helpless. And there is this powerful purport. We don't really have the time to read too much. There is this powerful purport, 1:826, I think it is, where Queen Kunti, No. Let me see. What? Screen. No, if you want to read it, let me read it from my verse book. I've got it in here. So this is, yes, 1:826. I will just read one paragraph from the purport. Actually, the Lord's holy name has such powerful potency. But there is a quality to such utterance also. It depends on the quality of feeling. A helpless man can feelingly utter the holy name of the Lord, whereas a man who utters the same holy name in great material satisfaction cannot be so sincere. Wow, that's a strong point, that material satisfaction. How can we feel helpless if we are situated in material satisfaction? It just shows how dangerous material satisfaction is for our spiritual progress. It leads to complacency and indifference and lethargy, and then there's no talk about helplessness. But aren't we all striving for material satisfaction? I think if we're a little honest, we have to admit, yes, we are. Yes. So, very dangerous. Better to, be happy with simple living and, some little dissatisfactions. I like to be in countries where you feel you're sitting on a pin cushion. You know what a pin cushion is? Sometimes the Buddhas use it, a little foam thing with all the pins on it. So you imagine you're sitting on a pin cushion. You will not be comfortable. Something is always pricking. So that's good for spiritual advancement. Then you don't get too cozy and comfortable, no material satisfaction. So now Prabhupada continues. A materially puffed up person may utter the holy name of the Lord occasionally, but he is incapable of uttering the name in quality. Therefore, the four principles of material advancement, namely high parentage, good wealth, high education, and attractive beauty, are, so to speak, disqualifications for progress on the path of spiritual advancement. Wow. Yes. So these four principles of material advancement, they easily lead to pride. Then we become puffed up. Oh, look at me, such an aristocratic family line. Look at me, so wealthy, my big castle here. Look at me, I'm so highly educated. PhD, professor, whatever it may be. Oh, look at me, so beautiful. So unfortunately, all these material opulences very easily make us proud. And then how can we call out in helplessness like a child crying for his mother? Yes. So of course it doesn't mean if we have some material opulences we should throw them all out or something. It doesn't mean that. But at least we should know, we should be mindful that, oh, I have these opulences. Let me better be careful. Let me understand. Any opulence comes from Krishna. He's just, we are borrowing from Krishna. There's one purport where Prabhupada says, our opulences are like borrowed plumes. Borrowed little feather decorations that in Europe, when people walk in the forest, they pick up some feathers and they stick it in their hat, So all the opulences Krishna is giving us, we are borrowing them from him. So we've got something to offer. Otherwise, how can we offer anything? So Krishna can easily take them away at any time. He does it all the time. Earthquakes, fires, floods, hurricanes, wars. Boom, everything can be finished overnight. Yes. So why are we puffed up about it? It's something Krishna is lending us, and so we have something to offer him. So that's how we have to understand it. And then we become humble because we realize it's not me, it's not my credit. Yes. But unfortunately, we often don't have that vision, and we become proud, and then, so to speak, disqualification. Prabhupada says it very clearly, Yes. So, but let's go back to the child. A child crying out in helplessness will not have the problem of a wandering mind, right? The child will not say, this is really strange. Every time I'm crying for my mother, I'm thinking of all these things, with whom to play and where to play and what to play. No, child does not have that problem, because in the child's mind there is no room for any other thought except, where is my mother? I need her right now. Right? Yes. So that gives us already an answer. What is the solution to the wandering mind? We have to involve the heart. We have to try and scratch some sincere feelings there of calling out to Krishna. That's the solution. I'm sure you know all of His Holiness Satyanandan Swami Maharaj. Maybe some of you have met him. So he likes to say in his holy name retreats that we should not get caught up in a boxing match with the mind, right? Because very often we hear this question, so what to do if the mind wanders? And then the standard answer is, pull it back in here. All right, that's a good beginning, but it's not everything. Because if we leave it at that, all right, we chant 2, 3 mantras attentively, then boom, the mind carries us away again. So then pull it back in here, pull it back in here. And here we find ourselves in the boxing match with the mind. This will not lead us anywhere. Solution is we have to involve the heart. We have to try and feelingly call out to Krishna. We have to mindfully turn to Krishna, and feelingly call out to him, I know Krishna, I know you are there, please accept me. Longing to be accepted, longing for the relationship. That's how we are meant to chant. And not only in japa, but also in kirtan too. Right? Yes. So that's how we are meant to chant. So when you chant your rounds later on today or tomorrow morning, try that. Usually if I have more time, we do a chanting exercise and all this. But yeah, we don't have enough time. But once people do this exercise, you try and do it yourself. You just chant, when you sit down in a peaceful corner and you just chant one round, really mindfully turning to Krishna, deep within the heart, feelingly calling out to him. And you will realize how difficult this is. Yes, so difficult. And if we can't even do it here, sitting in the temple room in front of Prabhupada or the deities or wherever, so what to speak of wandering around and doing so many things and. Yes. So now, interestingly, in Harinam Chintamani, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that when we chant the holy name without mindfully turning to Krishna and feelingly appeal to him, this is like the shadow, the reflection of the holy name. It's not the real thing. Yes. So we soon have breakfast prasadam. You imagine I offer you a reflection in the mirror of a plate of prasadam. So, will this be very satisfying to your stomach? No, it won't. And in the same way, chanting simply a reflection of the holy name, this will not give satisfaction to the soul. It actually will not do anything much at all. Now, Satchidananda Swami Maharaj came up with this analogy of calling this kind of chanting taking an empty medicine capsule. Have you heard this before? Empty capsule? No. I think this should be common terms in ISKCON. That everybody knows. What is this empty capsule? What's the full capsule? What's the empty capsule? Yes. So empty capsule is when we simply mechanically blabber, the alphabet of the Maha Mantra down, without even deeply in the heart turning to Krishna, feelingly calling out to him, longing, filling your chanting with longing for the relationship. It's empty capsule. Yes. From outside, it looks like the real thing. But no medicine inside, therefore, on the absolute platform, no effect. Absolute platform meaning that the chanting re-establishes our lost and forgotten relationship, right? On that level, it has no effect. We can chant for many, many lifetimes. If it's empty capsule, it will not re-establish our relationship with Krishna. And it's very logical and simple. You know, if we want to establish any relationship with anybody in this world, the first step is that we are mindful of that person's presence in our life, right? Yes, it's like that in the Brahmachari ashram. If you just ignore each other and you're not even mindful of each other's presence, how can you develop a deeper relationship? Same thing in marriage. You know, if she is doing her thing, he is doing his thing, they're just, you know, walking past each other in life. So how can there be a deeper relationship? So the first step in developing any relationship is that we have to be mindful of the person's presence and we consciously turn to him and we appeal to him, right? So, and same thing is there with our relationship with Krishna. And we can just imagine if we really spend every day 2.5 hours, depending on how long we take for our japa, if we really endeavor to turn to Krishna and call out to him feelingly, obviously something will happen in that relationship with Krishna, right? It will become more tangible reality. Yes. But we can easily, in our so-called Krishna consciousness, we can easily cut Krishna out of the picture completely. You know? We can run all day, so many things to do, so many sevas, busy projects, big ambitions and plans. But hey, what are we doing for our relationship with Krishna? Are we doing anything for that? Well, that's what the chanting is meant to be. But even if, you know, during the chanting, we are also busy with so many other things in the mind, doing so many other things at the same time, we are not turning to Krishna and calling out to him, it will not do anything. And then one day, when we will face death, we realize, oh, I have not done enough to develop this relationship. Yes. Everything else is finished. Curtain closes. Show is over. You know? But our relationship with Krishna, that's eternal reality. But because we are so much in the habit of ignoring Krishna, you know, for lifetimes we have turned our back to him. That's why it is not so easy to, you know, change this. It's not an external thing of just joining ISKCON, being initiated, and having some position, this, that, you know, but hey, have we made this paradigm shift in our hearts? Are we really turning to Krishna? You know. So, and same thing is there in kirtan also. What makes a kirtan, a powerful kirtan, is when the kirtan leader connects, calling out to Krishna, mindfully appealing to him, and that's what makes a kirtan a powerful kirtan. Not the musical expertise, you know. Yes. They're often in our kirtans empty capsule, you know. Yes. And then it's not very nourishing, you know. Actually, I'm sure you may have heard Yaduba Prabhu's name, right? Or you may have met him. He was making this wonderful movie about Prabhupada. So he once personally told me that Prabhupada was in Mayapur and there was one of these passionate, wampa stomper kirtans going on, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, you know. So, and Yadava Prabhu was in Prabhupada's room. So then, when the kirtan stopped, Prabhupada turned to Yadava Prabhu and said, "Good, he has finished." That's all he said. Good, he has finished. So, of course, Prabhupada was simply happy, at least they're chanting Hare Krishna. But yeah, we have to make some endeavors to get on deeper levels of understanding what kirtan is all about. We don't want to leave it forever at this, passionate Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But no, we have to really call out feelingly, hopelessly. Yes, that's what makes a kirtan powerful, Yes. I once very distinctly had that realization. That was that year when Jayapataka Maharaj had his first health crisis when he was in coma. It was 2004 or 5 or something. I can't quite remember. So at that time I was in Bangladesh. And most devotees in Bangladesh are his disciples. So when the news came out, it was mortifying. ISKCON Bangladesh, everybody was in shock. So we immediately started 24-hour kirtans. And these kirtans were the most amazing kirtans I ever had attended, because people were helplessly calling out, crying out to Krishna. Sometimes the kirtan leaders were actually literally crying while they were chanting, Yes. And that's when I realized, wow, this is actually what kirtan is all about. We are meant to cry out to Krishna, Yes. And then it was interesting to observe, as Maharaj's health became stable, that helplessness was fading away. And the whole kirtan went back to the usual mood of, a good portion of showing off there, Yeah, because when your guru is maybe in a life-threatening situation, it's not a situation where you feel like showing off your musical expertise and all that, right? But yeah, as soon as Maharaj's health became more stable, kirtan went back to the usual mood. And that utter hopelessness and desperation faded away. Devotees were thinking, looks like he's surviving and he will be with us for longer time. And so yeah, that gave me the realization, wow, kirtan is meant to be like this. Connecting, calling out in desperation, So now, one last little thing. Japa kirtan. What's more important? Both. So, to cut it short, in japa, we do this internal personal work of connecting with Krishna, building the connection. So usually people say japa is more austere, it's more tapasya, more internal work, right? Yes. Whereas kirtan focuses on spreading and giving the benefit to the other conditioned souls. So now, japa sets the foundation to kirtan. Because unless we build that connection with Krishna in japa, very easily we lose it in kirtan also. Because kirtan offers more distractions. There's the melody, the rhythm, the instrument, the audience, and. So very easily, these things will distract us. And when we lead the kirtan, we will be on external platform, thinking, is everybody liking my tune? Maybe I should change this, that. So then how can we connect? So the more our relationship with Krishna is firmly established in japa, the more we can really feelingly call out to him in kirtan. So now my question to you, what is the foundation for deep japa? When you look at the sadhana, what's the foundation for japa? Huh? Yes, but I'm talking about our sadhana. What part of our sadhana sets the foundation to deep japa? Reading, hearing, yes, Prabhupada's books, Bhagavatam, you know? Because that, when we regularly hear again and again, that establishes sambandha gyan deeply in the heart. Who am I? Who is Krishna? What is this whole material world all about? So the more that knowledge is deeply established and realized, then it will become very natural to turn to Krishna and appeal to him and, oh, please, Krishna, I want to get out of here. Please accept me, longing for the relationship. But if this sambandha gyan is only gyan and not vigyan, if it's not deeply established in the heart, then it will be difficult, right? So that's why the hearing and reading Prabhupada's books is so important. That sets the foundation to japa, and japa sets the foundation to kirtan. So that's how the three belong together. And it's good to clearly understand this, because here in India and everywhere else in the world, there's so many expert kirtaniyas, outside of ISKCON. But they don't chant japa. They may not even follow the four regulative principles. They don't read Prabhupada's books. So their chanting is not powerful. They're not connecting with Krishna, Yes. And, we talked about the empty capsule, but there is even also a poisonous capsule available. The empty capsule easily fills with poison. So what is that? What's the poisonous capsule? It's very obvious in kirtan, but it's also there in japa. Poisonous capsule means when we use the holy name to show off, to bring attention to ourselves, to glorify ourselves, Yes, and again, very logically, because if the empty capsule, if we are not connecting with Krishna in kirtan or japa, will not give satisfaction to the heart. So then we look for the bliss. Where's the bliss? All right, maybe the bliss comes when I show off. Let me go for that kind of bliss. To show off, right? Yeah, so that's how the empty capsule fills with poison. And it can also be in japa too, that we want to, pose as an advanced devotee or Ekadashi. Of course, I chant 64 rounds, and I post a picture on Facebook, me chanting 64 rounds with my chada like this and the Radha Kunti like and this and that, and oh, how advanced I am, So that's the poisonous capsule, yes. Okay, that's all we can share in this time we have. So since this is my last session here, this will be your last opportunity to get any books. And that's why I want to take the opportunity one more time, hoping that I don't get on your nerves, to quickly bring your attention to these books. Spiritual Culture, Krishna's Divine System. This is all about the man, woman, nature's qualities. They're not the same. They're very, very different. And we women have a very powerful Shakti, and we are meant to use that Shakti to empower the men. and not to compete with the men. But because of the man-woman equality, these days the women like to compete with the men, and that makes the men weak. They don't like it. And so we women play a very important role. Yes, and if this role is misunderstood, whole human society goes down to hell, and that's what's happening today in Kali Yuga. So this book is all about women, but it's not only important for women, it's also important for the men to understand that men and women are not equal. And I'm discussing all the hot issues on the woman's topic in this book. Yesterday, somebody asked me if I was serving as a Diksha guru. No, I'm not, and I don't want to. And there's a whole topic, a whole chapter on that topic. Because this is one of these big topics in ISKCON, and so there's so many things in there. Women giving class, women singing in kirtan, and so good to understand, yes, Krishna system, yeah. And then we have sheltering relationships. This is all about the importance of having a counselor, that just having Diksha Guru is not enough. And counselor often is only a formality, an external thing, a social thing, but in our heart, we are not taking shelter. So when you read this book, you will be convinced that without having a counselor and eventually becoming one to others, we actually cannot make advancement. Very important topic. And there's also the chapter on envy in it, which we discussed yesterday morning, how envy manifests towards seniors equals juniors, the culture of correcting others, culture of respect, so many relevant practical things. And then we have the false ego, our constant companion and troublemaker. Very subtle. Easily we can miss the whole thing, and we feed and boost the false ego instead of subduing and dissolving it. Or when we get offended, when somebody corrects us, and our false ego protests and all that. So now there's all different steps how to dissolve the false ego. And in this book is the whole chapter on chanting the holy name in it too. So empty capsule, poisonous capsule, you will find it all in the book in much more detail. Because the chanting is very instrumental in dissolving the false ego, but we have to chant properly, and not just lip service, Yeah. And then we have entering the Grihastha ashram, how to do it, how better not to do it, handbook for matchmaking. Here in India, I've shared already a few times, we need a bit more fine-tuning of our matchmaking, because people often look only at caste and money, and they don't look at all the other levels of compatibility. And I meet so many mismatched, unhappy couples from Indian families because the parents just put them together and don't give them time to talk. There's so many important things to discuss. Whether a woman should work or not, and this and that, what level of, a standard of life, flashy and fancy or simple. We have to talk about things, to really see, are we on the same page? Will this be harmonious? So there's a whole list of over 200 topics which the boy and the girl should discuss in the presence of a parent or matchmaker or counselor, and this list is from Bhaktivedanta Manor in London, which is a huge Indian community. So it's good for Indian people. It's not a German list. You may think, what comes from Germany, maybe this is not relevant for us. But no, they're really good questions, really good questions. Yeah, so important book for people who are not married yet and for parents, for matchmakers, for authorities, and. Actually, it's for anybody. Everybody should know how to do this change of ashram. I mean, in the Western world, even the brahmacharis discuss this. Because many brahmacharis do come to the stage where they want to change ashrams, and they also should guide others how to do it. You know? Yes, and especially if the parents are non-devotees, all they look at is caste and money. You know? And then we lose devotees, they get married to a non-devotee and all this, you know. Yeah. And then family life as an ashram, secrets of success. How to create this culture of bhakti in our home. Many families, home life, you cannot call it a suitable place for bhakti. Yes, you know, because we don't take education. Mundane family life and Krishna conscious family life is very different. So we need some training. So there's a lot of practical things in this book which help us to spiritualize our home and create this culture of bhakti. And if we have this culture of bhakti in the home, the kids very naturally grow into Krishna consciousness. But if this culture is not there, the children will not become devotees. Yes. And in this book is also a whole chapter on physical intimacy in marriage, how to live this principle of no illicit sex life. There's quite a bit of confusion over this, and I did quite some research and came across interesting instructions from Prabhupada, which not many people have heard. And that adds a whole different perspective to the topic. So if any of you would like to get some books, these last 3 books are 350 rupees each, and the first 2 are 300 each. Many people get the whole set, that's 1,650. So if you want some books, today is the last day where you can come up after the class and we'll work it out. So do we have 1 or 2 quick questions about chanting the holy name? Any question? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. I have a question. How do we overcome from mechanical chanting? Like I'm working in a corporate sector, so while chanting, it always comes like I have to do this meeting today. I have that meetings. So how should I overcome from that thoughts during the chanting time?
Well, if you want to get a detailed answer, it's in the False Ego book. You know? Yes. But let me just give you one little thing. We have to give ourselves a chance to experience the difference between attentive chanting and inattentive chanting. That's actually our problem, that we don't even know the difference. And we think what we do is chanting, but most likely it's inattentive chanting. So what we do is we reserve some amount of rounds, whatever it may be, 4, 6, 8, 10, whatever. And we try and chant them with undivided attention, really focusing, feelingly, calling out, crying out to Krishna, trying our very best. And the other rounds we will also chant, but let them be inattentive as they have been for many years. So, and then if we do this, we will experience the difference, you know, and we will realize, yes, these attentive chanting where I endeavor to really appeal to Krishna, they are so much more satisfying. And the other rounds are simply miserable life, you know. So then we will naturally want to increase this pile of attentive chanting. But there's so many other points which we don't really have time now. But why don't you come to the Holy Name Retreat in Echo Chakra? I have a poster there on the table. You can take a photo of it. There you will really get something. 21st to 25th of December. Yeah, that's a really deep and life-transforming experience. Any other quick thing? Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji. First of all, thank you so much for such a deep, class. I have a question that is there any visible symptoms of a person doing good attentive chanting? Because sometimes we chant and we think we are doing good chanting, but we don't really know. So is there any way that we realize?
Yes. The list is also in that false ego book. Doing a bit of promotion here. Well, there is quite a few definite signs that we lose our attraction to sense gratification. Yes, we find sense gratification a boring waste of time, no interest, that we want to use every minute meaningfully in Krishna's service, that we get a taste for reading Prabhupada's books, we get a taste for serving, and not only serving when it goes according to my desires, but in any situation, even if there's obstacles and I can't do it the way I want to do it, but still we have a steady, desire to serve. And what else? And we get a taste for chanting. We want to chant more. And we get realizations, because Krishna reveals himself according to our mood of service. And chanting is one of the main and foremost ways of service. So if we apply ourselves properly in service, then Krishna reveals himself. So as we deepen our chanting, we can see more Maya's workings and Krishna's workings, and we get realizations and. So yeah, these are the main ones.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me use also this opportunity to thank you so much for allowing me to visit. I felt very happy and comfortable amongst you all, and it was a great pleasure for me to associate with you. And I hope to see you again sometime, either in Mayapur or Ekachakra, or maybe sometime here again in the future. Okay, thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki, Gaura Premanande.
Hare Krishna. So we are very grateful to Her Grace Devaki Mataji. I feel it is Radha Kunjbari's mercy on none of us that we last 3 days we are having her association in the form of different seminars like Prajalpa and we and today's of holy name. So we are very thankful Mataji because as life goes on, we normally like to think deeply about these topics. So it made us think deeply, and we were really enjoying and thinking about this, discussing in our ashram also. So thank you, Mataji. So next time you are, please come to Pune again. It has the different topics. So thank you. So we are very grateful for this. Thank you.
Thank
Mataji.
you.
So let us chant one time Hare Krishna mantra by chanting loudly. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Devaki Mataji ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Books.